light. Presented by Ivory Liquid, the dishwashing detergent that's white, pure, gentle enough to be named Ivory.
Today, we're visiting with Mrs. Blake Clark of Washington, D.C., and her daughter, Nikki. Do people often tell you how much you two look alike?
They sure do. It always tickles me.
I notice your hands, Mrs. Clark.
Our hands look alike, too.
Why, Mrs. Clark, your hands look young, like Nikki's. With all the dishwashing you do, what's your secret?
It's no secret. I use Ivory Liquid. We entertain a lot, and I play the piano, so I particularly want my hands to look nice. I just wouldn't consider using a detergent I don't know anything about, but I know a liquid named Ivory will be gentle.
Yes, Ivory Liquid's smooth, pure, and white, like all the Ivory products. It gets even greasy as casseroles clean without hard scrubbing. And as Mrs. Clark knows, Ivory Liquid's so gentle, it helps a mother's hands stay soft, look young. Try it.
Robin, don't you think we should go in and sit down?
I'd rather not, Maida. I wish Michael would come.
But the inquest isn't supposed to be until 2 o'clock.
I know, but I'd like to speak to him before we go in.
Maida, Bruce. Hello, Robin.
Hello, Paul.
Oh, Paul, I'm so glad you're here.
Yes, so am I, Paul. Papa Bauer's not with you?
Well, he wanted to come, but we insisted that he stay home.
Oh, that's wise. Dick will be a little late.
Something at the hospital?
He had an emergency, but he expects to be here as soon as the hearing starts.
I hope so.
I better tell the bailiff about Dick. Excuse me.
Bruce, don't you think you should give her something for her nerves?
Well, I tried to get her to take something earlier, but she refused.
I know, but look at her now.
All right, darling. All right, I'll try.
So afraid we'd be late. How are you, Bruce?
I'm fine, Bert. I'm glad you're here.
Oh, excuse me.
It's all right.
Now, what's he doing here?
No. He's just the detective who started the investigation.
Oh, Bill, I'm perfectly well aware of that, but what's he doing here at the inquest?
Well, he's probably going to be a witness this afternoon.
But, Bill, he's so prejudiced.
No, dear. He's just mistaken. The hearing will show that. Excuse me a minute. I think we ought to be getting inside now.
You're going ahead, then.
But, Michael, aren't you going in with us?
I'll be in a minute, Mom.
But
Robin and I want to talk to each other alone.
But, Michael...
Sure, Mike. Sure, we'll see you inside.
Jean, your Sunday dress.
Jimmy said he loves me, so I beat him up.
That just reminds me, Grandma. My wash is looking awful gray lately, and I even soak it.
Well, honey, you don't have to do that. Do it the modern way that I discovered down at my laundrette. Here, Oxydol. So modern it even has its own bleach right in it.
Color safe, oxygen bleach. Bleaches as it washes.
Only one that does. In my business, my laundrette, I'd never recommend a suds that didn't bleach, too.
Oxydol is the only leading detergent that contains its own bleach. Only Oxydol bleaches as it washes clothes white.
White? Why, this dress just actually smells white. Don't forget my trade secret.
Oxydol.
Michael, this isn't going to be pleasant for any one of us, but it'll soon be over.
I should be the only one who has to go through it.
Oh, please don't feel that way.
It's the truth.
I was there, too.
But you weren't responsible.
Neither were you.
Someone seems to think I am. That's why we're here.
We're here to see the case is closed officially.
At least that's what we keep telling ourselves anyway.
Michael, I wish you'd stop taking everything on yourself alone like this. You're closing me out.
I'm not closing you out.
Yes, you are. A wife wants to share things with her husband, for better or worse.
You've only had the worst so far.
Darling, I don't care about myself as long as... Michael, I only know one thing. I'm so happy and so proud to be your wife. It's the only thoroughly wonderful thing that has ever happened to me.
And you can still say that after all we've been through.
Can't you?
I love you. That's all I know anymore.
Oh, darling, I love you too. With all my heart. And I always will.
Robin.
We have to keep telling ourselves this over and over again while we're in there.
I wish it were over.
Oh, it will be soon. Promise me that you'll remember through this whole thing that we have each other, that we belong to each other.
I promise.
And no matter what happens, we are husband and wife, and we won't have to keep that from people much longer.
I wish we had told people.
Well, yesterday you said
I know. I've been so mixed up. But now I think maybe it was wrong not to tell people.
Well, that was no one else's business but our own.
I know that.
Miss Holden, Mr. Bauer.
Yes.
I'm John Grimes with the Evening Banner. You remember me, don't you?
Yes, of course I do.
I wonder if you might make a statement for the press.
I think the article you wrote the other day was quite enough, don't you?
Didn't you like the article?
You have to ask that.
Well, I thought it was a pretty fair analysis of the case, if I must say so myself.
Fair.
Well, did I say that Michael Bauer was to blame for the death of Carl Jens?
Not in so many words, perhaps.
What do you mean?
I mean, Mr. Grimes, that what you didn't say in actual words, you were quite able, very cleverly, to imply between the lines.
Well, now...
Michael. Mike, I think we ought to go in now. The coroner's ready to begin the inquest.
A boy's room is a teepee, a chemistry lab, a baseball diamond, the zoo, and lots more. Only the privileged are allowed, like Mom sometimes. And Mr. Clean himself, the great all-purpose liquid cleaner. Straight from the bottle, he takes marks off a wall, war paint off a desk. Rinsing's easy. In water, he takes everything off floors, from mud to mercurochrome. No rinse necessary. He cleans anything washable. Added to regular laundry suds, he makes water softer. And even paint-spattered T-shirts come out spotless. He's always ready to prove he's the all-time chief at all kinds of cleaning.
Mr. Clean gets rid of dirt and grime and grease in just a minute. Mr. Clean will clean your whole house and everything that's in it. Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean.
Lawyer thought it would be better if he wasn't here at all today. Bill agreed with it.
You don't, right?
Well, they said it might look as though we were scared if the lawyer were here with us today. I'm scared anyway, Paul.
Well, Bert, there isn't going to be any cross-examination. So actually, there wouldn't be anything for a lawyer to do.
Well, I just pray you're right, Paul.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're here to conduct an investigation into the facts relating to the death of one Carl Jennings. Now, let me assure you that no one in this courtroom has been charged with a crime. Indeed, no one is even a suspect. I will ask all the questions deemed necessary to collect the facts and evaluate the truth, so that I may be able to make a finding which will be absolute and necessary in order to legally close this case. Now, there will be no cross-examination, and we will try to make the entire procedure just as informal as possible. Call the first witness.
Dr. Paul Fletcher. Put your right hand on the Bible, please. You swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
State your name and occupation.
Paul Fletcher. I'm a physician at Cedars Hospital,
Los Angeles, California. Take a seat, please.
Now, Dr. Fletcher, I understand that you were the attending physician on this case.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
And on the night of the 12th of July, you were called to attend the injured Carl Jennings.
Yes, that is also correct.
And you were called directly to the home of Mr. and Mrs. Doctor, I believe it was, Banning, Bruce Banning?
Yes, sir.
Well, it's also correct, isn't it, Doctor, that you were called to attend the injured Mr. Jennings by Michael Bauer, who witnessed the accident?
Yes, that's right.
Michael Bauer phoned me.
Well, now, Dr. Fletcher, would you please tell us in your own words exactly what happened from the moment you received that telephone call from Mr. Bauer?
Well, I was at home with my wife and my son when Michael Bauer telephoned me.
About what time did you receive that telephone
It was
call?
about 9 o'clock.
Yes, proceed.
Now, Mike Bauer told me that there'd been an accident at his aunt's house, and that Carl was unconscious on the patio floor there at the Bannings.
Mm-hmm. What instructions did you give to Mr. Bauer?
Well, I told him not to move Carl inside the house, to make sure he could breathe freely, and not to leave him until I got there.
Well, then what happened, Doctor?
I drove over immediately, found Carl, as Michael Bauer had described it.
That is, he was still unconscious when you tested his condition.
Yes. He never regained consciousness.
Oh, I see. Go on.
After I examined Carl, I realized there was nothing further I could do for him there at the house.
So you moved him?
Yes. Michael and I carried him into the house, and we put him on the sofa. Then I called for an ambulance immediately, and he was rushed to Cedars Hospital for emergency surgery.
Well, are you saying then, Dr. Fletcher, that Carl Jennings was in a very serious condition from the moment he sustained that injury?
Yes, sir.
Well, Dr. Fletcher, would you tell us, please, what was it that caused this accident in which Carl Jennings sustained the fatal blow?
The Guiding Light has been presented by the all-time champ at all kinds of cleaning, Mr. Clean himself, the all-purpose liquid cleaner.